Good morning, friends and fellow traders. This is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and this is the morning market prep video for March 27th, 2024. Well, as we wind down this trading month, we continue to see a lot of price action that poses that uncertainty in the market. We're waiting on a GDP and a core PCE number coming in here on Friday and a 3-day weekend. So we're just seeing a lot of price action that, well, we pop in the morning, we drop in the morning, and then we don't go anywhere. As a matter of fact, if you take a look at a 15-minute chart, we gapped down here and then went nowhere. We gapped up and ran and then went nowhere. And this morning we're seeing our best opportunity maybe for a good push to the upside. We'll see if that can hold through the morning. First off, let's take a look at what happened overnight. First off, Asian markets mixed last night with mixed but mostly lower. However, the Nikkei had a really good day, up 364 points, while at the same time the Japanese yen fell to a 34-year low. Pretty interesting situation over there. Their currency continues to weaken up dramatically. So something you want to be keeping an eye on. There may be some intervention that's going to happen there on the Nikkei. If we take a look at what happened in China last night, China had a little bit of trouble. They had some data showing that industrial production or industrial profits fell 2.3% as a whole in 2023, and their CSI fell 1.16%, bringing the indexes back below, or the Shanghai back below 3,000 here for the first time in a while. The Hang Seng Hong Kong also fell 1.4%. So a little bit of trouble over there. And then we had Australian data that came out that said their inflation rose this time. So a little bit of a mix of data here, providing some of that uncertainty and a mixed end result on the day. However, European markets look pretty bullish here over this morning. Staying on mostly on the green side, with only the FTSE looking slightly lower, and Sweden made the decision to hold rates steady. If we take a look at U.S. futures, we are very happy this morning. We were selling off into the close of yesterday, and I'm not exactly sure what's providing that inspiration here this morning, but they are pumping here today, with futures trying to get a big overnight push here to the upside. So we'll want to keep an eye on that, particularly in the Dow, really trying to push. We have oil prices lower here this morning, with a analyst coming out suggesting that our stockpiles, our inventories have surged. We'll find that out today in the petroleum status number, but right now we've got oil down 61 cents a share, Brent is down 67 cents a share, and we are a barrel, not a share. And then natural gas is down just ever so slightly this morning as well. When we take a look at our precious metals, things like that, we've got gold looking higher and silver looking higher, while copper, platinum, palladium, things like that are looking just a bit lower. And then on the crypto front, we have a little bit of a mix there as well, with Bitcoin right now up $252 a coin, and just a little bit of mix, kind of some light action in some of the other cryptos. So what does that mean for today? Well, how about we settle in? Let's buckle up. Let's get ready for the Wednesday edition of the morning market prep video. Good morning once again, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. I very much appreciate it. How about we take a look at these charts and see if we can figure out how we might approach the market for today. tried to shake off a little bit of bias. Let's just really look at the charts, the chart patterns. Look at the charts for what they are, not for what you want them to be. So first off, if we take a look at the diamonds here, we have a pretty good bullish pattern here setting up in the chart. Nice resting pullback the last 3 days, pulling back into this price support. And we're getting this nice, strong, bullish push here this morning in the pre-market. So if they can continue to maintain that and the bulls continue to push here today, well, first off, let's look at a little bit of a resistance right in there. We'll need to push on through there. Every reason to believe that that's possible. And if we can get through there, then I'm going to say that next level is right here in the chart to see if we can push up through there. And if we can get through there, then we're starting to look up here for that all-time high breakout in the diamonds. Now, if the bears were to come in with some kind of inspiration here for today, then what I would look is for that pullback in here to test this support level once again, and possibly even testing this trend that's starting to set up here. I'm not 100% sure that trend is there yet. Remember, I'm just kind of guessing in the pre-market right here that we're trying to push up here, so we might be pushing that trend just a little bit higher. And if that were to fail, if we were to push down below there, well, I think then we have that possibility that we're coming on down, testing some additional levels of price support here in the chart. Break down through some of these tops in this consolidating area, and I think we come down into here in that chart. So watch that carefully on the diamonds. Once again, we are still in that potential setup where upside moves seem to have been a little bit on the limited side. We kind of run out of energy quick. Downside moves provide us that big opportunity for big point moves if the bears were to engage. And so far, they just really haven't seemed to had a willingness to do all that much engagement. So bulls are definitely in control. Now, if we take a look at the Dow itself, one of the reasons that we may see quite a push in the diamonds is I think institutions, they really want this number up here. 40,000 in the Dow is something I think they've got their eyes on, thinking that that will continue to draw money into the market. So watch that carefully. There is that possibility, particularly in the diamonds, that we could seek out that great big round number here in the market. So watch that closely. Now, if we take a look at our SPY, SPY, although we pulled back here in the market, boy, talk about a pullback that just didn't really do much. Just a really resting pattern here in the SPY. Coming back, finding some support, and this morning we're trying to see that bullish push off of there. Now, if I were to draw a trend up through here, you can see that would be in a resumption of the upside trend. So let's keep a close eye on that. If the bulls can continue to push here, notice we got just a little bit of price resistance, maybe right in there on that chart, but pushing through there, and every reason to believe we could. And then we're starting to look up in here to try and break those all-time highs in the SPY. So watch that carefully here on the S&P 500. Now, if the bears were to find inspiration and push lower, breaking this support right here, then I think we've got a little bit of price support right in there that could catch us. If that doesn't hold, well, then it starts getting a little bit worse and we push on down here in that chart, and it gets really ugly. If we break through there, we could move sharply and hard to a downside if those bears were to engage. If we take a look at our QQQ, well, there was a little bit of concern maybe going into the close yesterday because we did try to break back above this resistance here in the chart, and we ended up the day turning just a little bit lower. But if there was some good news there, we did maintain higher than the low here yesterday, the day before yesterday. So watch that here in the chart. So still hanging on. You can see we're getting a good bullish push here in the pre-market, trying to push us back up. So first step is get back up here above this resistance in the chart. Get back up there and kind of prove you can hold up here. If they can push on through there, then we start looking, maybe these wicks up here would be a next level to be watching, and then right on up here for an all-time high breakout. So it's possible this could be the beginning of an upside trend here in that chart. If, for example, that doesn't happen and the bears were to engage today, well, you can see it really wouldn't take a whole lot of imagination to see if we fail up here in this area. A push down could break maybe this supposed trend, and I would be looking for this area here to break. If that were to break and start pushing lower, then I think we start looking at some of these bigger levels in the chart where we would start seeking some the price support in here. These could be some big point moves. So stay with the trend, stay with the bullish trend, stay bullish on the market, continue to raise those stop losses, but be prepared. Keep your eyes wide open for that opportunity that the bears could attack, remembering that we've got some big data coming. We have that uncertainty of a 3-day weekend coming as well, and it's not out of the question to see a little bit of profit taking maybe going into this long weekend. So just kind of keep that in mind. Be careful here. If you take a look at the Russell IWM, well, struggled a little bit yesterday. Not quite a bearish engulfing candle there at one point in time. Looked like we were going to end up with a bearish engulfing, but no, it didn't happen. We've got a little gap up here this morning trying to push on through. So if the bulls can continue to find inspiration here, first thing we need to do is we need to break through this area of resistance right here. Break through there and then show us that we have that opportunity to retest this resistance up here. We've tried it a couple of times and we've been rejected both times here. So we need to see a substantial push to push us up through there and maybe break into that area. If we do break into that area and prove to hold up here, then this is probably a game changer in the Russell. You'll notice this is a substantial resistance area in the chart. And this would be one of those signals of rotation where we're kind of pulling some of profits out of the big tech runs and we're rolling them into things that are a little bit more protective or things that have maybe more value in them rather than just the big tech name, and maybe some rotation going on, and we're seeing that in a lot of places here in the market. So watch carefully for that if we can push up through. If the bears, however, find inspiration, notice we got a little bit of price support right in here that can hold us. So we would test there first. Breaking down through there, it could get a little bit weird because we can drop into some of these levels pretty quickly and once again show some big point moves to the downside if those bears were to engage. So keep an eye on that. One of the things that you want to be paying attention to the last few days, volume has been really light. So just keep that in mind. We've got this uncertainty of that GDP coming in on Thursday morning and all of these long weekend kind of things going on that have the market just a little bit on that uncertain side. If we take a look at our VIX ended the day yesterday just a tiny bit higher, but I don't see any problem here. I don't see any major fear here at all. And with that push up in the market this morning, I would expect to see this coming lower here today on the VIX. So watch that carefully. Remember, we're still in this downtrend here, and right now we've shown no signs by the bears that they have enough energy to create really any fear. So no particular worries here. And remember, we broke this upside trend and we looked that we could hold that area right there as resistance and continue to fall. Now, I will tell you, once we start reaching down in these areas, we start getting into a complacency of the market. But so far, no particular worries there, and it's certainly not showing any signs that the bears are engaging. And then if we take a look at our T20s here, our T2122, the 4-week new high, new low ratio. You can see yesterday we pushed back here in this with more stocks selling than going higher. And we came close to the middle of the road here. There's that 50% area, middle of the road. So if the bulls find inspiration today, we have opened up a good upside pop if we can gain that traction to the upside and the bulls show that momentum heading into the GDP number. And then if the bears were to find inspiration here today, then watch possibly for that move to the downside. Now, being so extended that we are in the market and we're kind of in the middle of the road seeing a pre-market pop here, watch for potential whipsaws today. We're beginning to see a lot more of that where we pump it in the morning and then we just kind of falter and fail and just don't get any follow through. So watch carefully for that potential of a whipsaw here today as well. If we take a look at our T2108, which is the percentage of stocks above the 40-day moving average, well, we did have that slipping back yesterday, but I don't see anything terrible here. Notice we're still holding that upside trend. We did give up a little tiny bit of support here, but there is plenty more areas of support in this chart. So with the bulls pushing this morning, we might see this turn right back up and head on higher. So no particular worries there. Maybe just the idea of a little bit of caution heading into the weekend, but other than that, the bulls are in control. T2107 is going to show us the same thing. Percentage of stocks above the 200. We failed just a little bit yesterday, pulling back. We gave up maybe just a hint of failing a tiny area of support, but not enough to be of any worry at all. Bulls are in control. Trend is good. One thing we will have to concern ourselves with is we're going to be reaching a very, very frothy area up here in the T2107. Because we're getting a little bit on that stretched out side here, but we'll worry about that once we break into some of these resistance levels up here and try to stretch that on higher. If we take a look at our T2101, now our breadth here in the market has made this sudden improvement, and kind of odd because we've been rising on very, very low volume here the last couple of days to see breadth suddenly surge. So I'm wondering if some of the corporate buybacks and things like that were coming right into their blackout period. Remember, we've got more than 60% of the stocks right now in their blackout period. By next week, it's around 80% of the stocks are going to be in their blackout period. So corporate buybacks are going to die down. The other thing that could be going on here is a little bit of that end of quarter, end of month window dressing, where institutions are trying to get that money to work, finishing up that end of quarter. So that may have been one of the reasons for the bump up here, but you'll notice we had that fade in here yesterday. So watch that carefully. If this were to fade back on this bull pushing up this morning, well, that might not be a really great sign, but we'll watch that today carefully. It is perhaps the possibility that big surge this morning will turn that breadth right back up. So watch carefully for those possibilities. Let's take a look at our economic calendar here for today. Now, our economic calendar relatively light here this morning. We've got mortgage applications coming in this morning. Keep an eye on that, as we've been seeing those bond yields kind of fluctuating around. As a matter of fact, right now we have the 2-year bond. It's ticked 1/10 lower from yesterday at 4.59. Our 10-year bond is held steady, 4.23, and our 30-year bond is moved up just a little bit at 4.40. So kind of keep a close eye on those. Obviously that affects rates, and we'll see what that's done with mortgage applications here. Kind of keep in mind that we've got the petroleum status number. Analysts are saying we had a surge in supplies. We'll want to see that for sure here on this number at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. We're going to have survey of business inventory, or business uncertainty, not inventories, and then we've got bond auctions, and Waller will be speaking after the bell today. So pretty light day on that calendar. Nothing particular to worry about. However, by the time we get through the volatility of the morning and all the hopping and popping around, everybody's going to be thinking about this. GDP, jobless claims tomorrow morning. Obviously, GDP could be the biggest mover of the day. So kind of keep that in mind. We've got a busy day tomorrow, our last trading day of the week. And then we're going to find that we're going to get probably the most important number of the week when the market's closed. So be prepared for next Monday. There could be a lot of volatility around Monday as well. Let's take a peek at our earnings calendar for today, and there are some notables here today to be made aware of. Not too many, and remember, running through the quarter, there's just not going to be that many, but a few that we want to be paying attention to. CTAS Cintas will be reporting today. Looks like it's trying to gap up just a little tiny bit this morning, maintaining that upside trend. Keep an eye on Cintas. PAYX will be reporting this morning. Watch that one carefully. It's feeling a little bit of bearishness here this morning, but you can see right there in the pre-market we're trying to hold up. And then if we look at UNF will also be reporting this morning. This afternoon we're going to hear from BRZE. We're going to hear from HB Fuller. We're going to hear from Jeffries. We're going to get reports from MLKN. We're going to hear from CXM and VRNT. Those will be your notables for this afternoon. So jot those down and make sure you're paying close attention to those heading into the end of the day. So with that, let's take a look at some stocks that could be setting up for today. But before we do that, everyone, if you could do me this quick favor, if this is the first time you've seen these videos, if you could please click that subscribe button on YouTube, and also click the bell icon when it pops up so you'll be notified every time I post a video. And if you find these videos to be useful or helpful, if you guys could do me a favor, and that would be click that thumbs up button, leave a brief comment. That helps the channel to continue to grow. Thank you so much for everyone who does do that. I apologize I didn't get to answering those questions yesterday. Our day kind of blew up, and I was handling 2 trading rooms yesterday, so it was a little bit hectic, but I should be back on task for that today. So thank you so much, everyone. Let's take a look here at some of these stocks, and remember, these are not recommendations to buy or sell any security. Do your own due diligence. Be very, very careful in this market, remembering that we've got this shortened week, a lot of data coming our way toward the end of the week. So think carefully about the risks that you take in this market. Never ever blindly follow anyone else's trade ideas. Let's take a look and what we've got going here. I wanted to make mention of UUP. Interesting price action here in the US dollar. Tried to go down yesterday and then turned around, surging back up. This will be important here if this breaks through this resistance. Now, typically when we see the dollar rise, we're going to see commodity prices go down. So we're going to see things like oil. We're going to see things, food prices. We're going to see all of those kind of things maybe weaken here in the market. And you'll notice there's a pretty substantial gap here above yet to be filled. So if we pop through here, that weakening of the yen helping provide some strength here to the US dollar as well. So watch that carefully. Now you will want to make note that we are also trying to break through that downtrend right here, trying to pop through that downtrend. So if we can break through this resistance in the chart and then maybe move on up and test through that gap, could be an interesting move here in the dollar. So watch that close. Now, when that happens, I would typically see gold, silver, things like that falling back. We're not seeing that, which is really interesting to me. There seems to be a bit of a fear trade going on here, a protection trade going on here. As you guys know, I've been pointing out defensive sector stocks that are holding up really, really well. People are seeking dividends and that rotation that I think that's happening here in the market. But I do think it's extremely odd to be seeing a strengthening dollar and also seeing gold strengthen with it. So watch that carefully here. It's trying to push on up here this morning. I still think this needs more time to rest and pull back in here to consolidate out to this trend, but it is possible it could change that trend trajectory and go steeper here. So watch carefully here for that potential push. If we look at our silver, trying to push up a little bit here today, not as bullish of a chart, but we might be trying to catch some support here in that chart, so watch that carefully. Now you guys know I've been talking about soybeans. Soybeans had a pretty rough day yesterday pushing back, but look what's happening this morning. Soybeans reversing, trying to push back up here in the pre-market. I still think I would keep an eye on this soybean chart. Really good looking chart. Could be setting up for that next upside move here in the market. Watch that one closely. Take a look at CVS. Now CVS has been, we broke this wedge in here and we rallied up above this resistance in the chart, and we're just kind of holding up in here. Now it's tough to find the trend in here unless the trend is all the way out here, and it could be that we may have to rest out to here. But look at you can see this bullishness that we have going here in the market on CVS, and that possibility that this could end up being the trend and pushing on higher to test those resistance levels up here. So watch that closely. If we take a look at some of the big tech, boy, Microsoft in a very bullish pattern, this resting pullback that has occurred. We're coming into this little trend and this nice little support in the chart. If the bulls can engage here on Microsoft, this is about the place I'd be watching for that opportunity for that to push on through to the upside. So on the list, something to be paying attention to here in the day, looking pretty good. Kind of like this BKNG pushing up here, as you can see. Nice little resting pattern here. I tried to go yesterday, tried to get going, and then the pullback, the uncertainty in the market kind of left it flat on the day. But watch this carefully. We could be establishing a new upside trend here on BKNG, holding that area. Look for that next opportunity for that to push up to the upside. And I'm going to go to DKNG. DraftKings also showing lots of bullishness here, pushing to the upside. I think this now needs a rest or pullback to find that entry into the trade, but watch that carefully. Now, even though we've got these oil numbers this morning, we're going to want to be keeping pretty close eye on some of these oil sector stocks. We have noticed that Valero just went like a rocket ship ride to the upside, and this is I'm going to pull this back and go to a weekly. This is an all-time high breakout, a multi-year breakout here in Valero. So any kind of rest or pullback that holds a higher low in here, I would watch for that next opportunity to maybe pick up something in Valero. If we start looking around some of these oil sector stocks, big breakouts have occurred. ExxonMobil breaking through a resistance and now it's resting back. No reason to believe that it can't come right on back here to this trend. But if it were to rest in here, just kind of consolidate, I would look for that next opportunity to the upside. And there are a lot of stocks in this sector looking very, very bullish. PSX, nice little resting pattern going in here, coming back to this trend. Look for the next opportunity to the upside. Very good looking charts in a lot of places in this oil and gas sector. And I would keep an eye on RIG. This is one that I'm watching pretty closely. RIG made this astonishing run to the upside, really strong move, coming back to test some support. And if this would consolidate and rest in here for a bit, I'm looking for that next opportunity here in RIG. Certainly we're going to need exploration and more oil the way things are going here in the market. So watch that closely. Big break of a major downtrend. Keep an eye on RIG. Has some potential. I get accused an awful lot. All I show is really expensive stocks, and that's why I want to show things like that here. Another one that I think is worth keeping an eye on now. Take a look at PayPal. It's been really choppy in this bottom. And I'm not suggesting it's not done without volatility or choppiness, but one of the things that I like to see is a break of a downtrend like this, and we've made that first step. We've broke that downtrend. Now we need to see this rest, consolidate, pull back, and I want to look for that next opportunity to the upside here in PayPal. So keep an eye on that. And in that same vein on pay systems, if we take a look at SQ, SQ has been holding up well. You know, I've been talking about this one as well, holding up, big resistance breakout here in the chart. Any consolidating rest in here that gives you that a nice clean entry as we move toward trend, I would be looking for that next opportunity here. And when we take a look at the big financials here, XLF showing lots of bullishness here, pulled back, found support, trying to push on higher. Keep an eye on XLF. When it comes to our regionals, however, I'd be a little bit cautious. We shot up here, we tagged that downtrend resistance, we're pulling back into this range, and we have all of this uncertainty about what's happening in China and their real estate collapse that's going on. It truly is a nasty situation. Country Garden has got a wrap-up order that's going into court in Hong Kong, meaning that the investors want to start liquidating, and there are about a dozen developers that are also in wrap-up orders over there. And unfortunately, a lot of our regional banks have skin in the game on that situation. So we'll want to watch that pretty carefully here if that were to fade and break down, causing some more problems here in some of our regional banks. So keep a close eye on that. Other places, boy, I've been kind of surprised here with some retail, how strong some retail has been holding up. Take a look at Costco. We got that little bit of fade going on in here, but if those bulls can push on through here, I'd look for that opportunity to break that downtrend and hold and look for that next opportunity. If we were to fail here, well, there's your short. So watch that carefully here. We're making some decisions on some of these. Walmart has been holding in there on this trend. It's got to be getting close here. We do have a problem, a little bit of a problem. There's that possibility of that double top. So we still want to be watching this closely. Remember, we broke this support right in here. We'll want to watch that pretty carefully. This has that potential. It could push on higher, or we could very easily slip and fall off of that trend. So keep a close eye on some of those retailers as well. Our durable goods numbers were good yesterday, but they really weren't great. They were kind of soft overall, so keep an eye on retail. So with that, everyone, I'm running this video too long. Thank you guys so much for being here today. Hope you have a wonderful Wednesday, and I'll see you right back here bright and early Thursday morning. Have a great day, everyone.